but I am one of your hosts for tonight's event. So I give you all yourselves a round of applause for actually coming out to learn some new things, okay? I'm gonna let Kayla introduce our panelists.
All right, so we're just pretty much gonna go down the line and introduce each of our panelists. You guys have a mic up there? All right.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for your time. My name is Quaylen Bobbitt. I am one of the artists on the We Need You album that we have. I am from Lithonia, Georgia. That's like East Atlanta area. I'm a graduate of Morehouse College, class of 2019. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a dreamer, I'm a farmer. As of recently, I'm a musical artist and recording artist, and I'm just really excited to share with you all, talk to you all, and I appreciate you all taking time out of your busy schedules to come speak and just listen to us. Appreciate it.
Guys, I hope everybody's doing all right. Thank you guys again for coming out and talking to us. My name is Ebony. My artist name is Malika. I enjoy being on this project, so I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. I am from Atlanta, grew up in College Park because we have to distinguish now. I'm a 2018 graduate at Johnson Smith University. I am a 2016 inductee into Swing by Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated. Born and raised in Atlanta, just doing the work on behalf of our people, nonprofit work. I recently got into the insurance game, so teaching our young Black people why it's important to talk about life insurance and all that kind of stuff. But just really excited to be here with you guys today.
Peace, peace. What's up, everybody? My name is Nadir Eshubola. That's my artist name. First name is Nadir Sharad. And I'm from Southside, Jonesboro, just outside of Atlanta. And I'm a singer-songwriter. I like to do, and I also do production as well. So I'm mostly doing all types of music that I like to do. And I'm really excited to be a part of the We Need You project and to be here with y'all today. Thanks for coming out. And I'm also a graduate of Prescott College in the master's program right now, and I'm studying sustainability. That's one of my biggest passions, just what does our future look like as Black people, but also as a human race on this planet and beyond, and in the face of climate change as well. Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna be a panelist from the side. I'm a DJ. I mean, this is what we do with the Black Man Lab. We do everything, we do all the jobs. So this will tell you about myself. My name is Dr. Kevin Pee Wee Williams. 1995 FAMU. Where the Rattlers at? Yes. Yeah, I know you weren't even dreaming about me. I'm 1991 Upsilon Psi. One love. So I'm excited to be here with my chapter brothers. I'm also a dadager. I manage DKOMX, who's a freshman here. I used to do music management. I had a gold artist, and also managed an Olympic athlete that won a gold medal in the 1996 Olympic Games. So I was in the music game and management and doing events. I started my company while I was on campus called Uplift Professional Services and Management. I went into retirement from that game, but then with my son being so talented, I got out the game and helped him. I've been helping him with his music career. So the reason why he is not here is he got cast for the next Essential Theater play. So he had to go to play practice today. So I'm here in his state, but I've been working with the project as one of the mentors.
Yeah.
The booth became a confessional, full of admitted sins, forgiveness, and answered prayers. In the midst of his ramblings about how and why he could do better, I heard myself mumble, "Brother, we need you." I said it without thinking, speaking into the phone as if I were whispering into my brother's ear. "Brother, we need you." I wasn't speaking to my brother. I was in a jail booth, speaking to a newfound brother, not just a client. He suddenly stopped talking, and he looked surprised, but not confused. He raised his head, and we looked into each other's eyes in a way that two Black men would never do if we were walking down the street. We didn't look away. We didn't flinch. And then I repeated with more confidence and clarity, brother, we need you. He began crying more intensely. And between sobs, he whispered, I know. Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing? Y'all all right? I'm Maui Davis. And usually when I come to fam, I come for homecoming with my wife, who graduated in '91. But today I'm here to share with these incredible artists and young people and young organizers. And we just came to tell you that we need you. On every campus that we have an opportunity to set foot on, the message is the same. Our people need you, not just to be great lawyers or doctors or entrepreneurs, but we need you to be of service to Black people as we continue to liberate ourselves from all the situations we find ourselves in today. And so I'm excited to be here. I went to the Naval Academy for undergrad. I went to Georgia State for law school. My law partner, Robert Bozeman, is a graduate of FAMU, class of '95, with Will Packard, Rob Hardy in that tremendous class. And so we're here. We just drove in from Atlanta. We're gonna get back on the road tonight and drive back because I have a trial in the morning. For real, a federal trial. My law partners are in, but we did not want to pass up this opportunity. And we just want to thank the brothers who have invited us, and we appreciate you all. I'm 1911, the other frat, but we appreciate you brothers, man, for taking the time to bring us together during Black History Month, and for you all to hear these young voices. And I think you all are gonna really enjoy what you hear. We hope that you will share the music. And I'm gonna give out some of these books, and I love to continue a conversation with you. So with that, we're ready to get started. And what I just read was an experience that I had in the Clayton County Jail, which is a jail just south of Atlanta. When I first started doing criminal defense work, and my brother, who is now deceased, was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And so when I saw this brother in the jail, I just connected with him. And so that was what that experience was. And that's where the title, We Need You, came from. Thank y'all.
So before we get into the performances, I just want to give another big round of applause to our panelists real quick. So just a quick question, what influenced you guys, or what inspired you guys to, well, obviously the author, what inspired you to write this book, but you guys as well, what inspired you to make music about the book?
I'll just be super quick. I have two sons. One graduated from Howard University 2 years ago, and the other one is graduating from Howard this year. And I wanted to write something to you all's generation. I've been involved in the Black liberation movement for 30 years, since I was 21, 22, and I'm 52. And it's hard to transmit to you all what this journey has been and how you can find your space in it and reimagine. Because so much of what we hear nowadays is just for you to kind of do this cookie cutter thing. And what we're saying is that without you all, we're gonna have a real serious problem on planet Earth. We need you all to step up as the leaders of not America, of the world. And so the We Need You, encouraging my son's generation for Black liberation, is really a love letter to all of you, to tell you how much I've fallen in love with Black people, with our liberation movement, and I would hope that it will also draw you in to love us more deeply in ways that allow you to do good work in the interest, not just of yourself and your family, but also of our larger community. So that's why I wrote it.
Well, I was inspired to be a part of the project because my only call X. I'm 26 now, but I was born into being a Black conscious person. I'm the granddaughter of 2 political prisoners. And so I just feel that it's very important not to forget that young people are the people who lead the movements. And while it is wise of us to sit at the feet of our elders and take their advice and their lessons and apply them to what we are moving forward to achieve, it is also wise of us to take heed that we are coming to that age. We are in that space where it is time for us to take that torch and run with it. And sometimes it's hard listening to people who have gray hair and may smell a little funny or talk a little wild, right? But when we talk to each other as peers and express that importance, it makes a different kind of impact. So I really enjoyed it. I was one of the 2 oldest people on the project. And so it was just really cool being from that perspective. So it just inspired us to keep going and keep creating because we saw the magic that it was making.
I would say what inspired me to join the project was really the spirit. 2-3 weeks before I even knew about the opportunity, I had told myself, I said, hey, next year I'm gonna record 21 pieces, whether it be songs, whether it be spoken word pieces. That's what I want to do. A couple of weeks later, Attorney Davis had reached out and was like, hey, I have a book. The youth not really gonna read it, but they will listen to music or whatever it may be. So can you all read the book and just create from that filter? And I was like, of course. I said a couple of weeks ago I was about to do that. And I was like, oh, it's supposed to happen like that. And then I was like, I have no idea what to do with recording. I've never even done it before. Almost like 1 studio session that I liked, and I said I'm gonna do 21 more. So this was an opportunity to do 2 songs. And I was like, hey, I can do spoken word. I don't even have any spoken word on the album. I ended up on 4 songs. Just that, hey, we got producers who made a beat and we need people to hop on it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna hop on it. And then just because I have a younger brother who's 12, his birthday, well, he just turned 12. And I'm like, yo, I really want to inspire him. Like, I want to do something that, you know, he can listen to. He's like, hey, yo, that's my brother, that's hype. So I definitely didn't want to come corny. I was like, it's gotta be fire. I'm already a wordsmith, so I'm like, let me throw the bars in there too, and then the beats for fire. And then seeing that there's already people who did the visual art, which is like over there. There's people who was good at clothing. There were people who did spoken word. There were people who were producers, all young adults. And I was like, oh, bet I could definitely just stay in my lane. And I don't gotta worry about all this other stuff, especially because I don't know all that other stuff. So that was really exciting, seeing that they already have like this ecosystem of people and young creators that were already willing to work on it. And I was like, bet, yeah, let me definitely go up in here. And then hearing some of the people and the talent, I was like, oh, I definitely gotta make sure my game is tight because I'm not gonna make it on the album otherwise. So that was just some of the things that really encouraged me. And then just being around these people, because I met them during the project and I was like, oh, let me redo this piece, or I got inspired to write something new. And then just even with the anthem, when they talked about it, it was like, that was just crazy chaos where I was like, I'm gonna go in here looking for the cipher. And then they was in there working on the anthem. And I was like, yeah, come in here, this is where you're supposed to be working. And I was like, I'm inspired to work with y'all because I already got something started. And I just want to be a part of something. Great. So that's really what got me.
And I would just say before I pass it to Nadir, just so you guys know, we did have adult support, but the most adult thing about this project is the book. I was 25 when we recorded. I think Elle was 25, and the youngest person was probably 12. So everything that y'all see is people who are y'all age and younger. So just know that.
I was gonna speak, okay, for DK since he's not here. So DK, I grew up with the Goody Mob, which is a well-known group out of Atlanta. So they kind of been like uncles to DK. And so DK was one of the seasoned people in terms of being in the music industry already when he got on this project. And we did a project prior to this book where we DK took a book that he read, I think in his sophomore year or junior year in high school, called Between the World and Me. Many of you all probably heard of that book. And there was a stage play put together for a reading of it at the Apollo Theater. And they had Common, Black Thought, and some other rappers do it. They brought it to Atlanta and they asked DK to perform, and DK made a song called Between the World and Me. Well, a song that was related to the book. And actually we worked with Attorney Davis, and we got the book for like 200 to 300 kids. We bust into the Atlanta Symphony Hall, and DK performed twice that week that the Apollo was there. His song Between the World and Me. Before COVID hit, she was going to take him on the tour to perform that song. But Killer Mike and T.I. or in the bigger show when it came to Atlanta. So when this opportunity came in, it was right down his alley. And actually, DK was DK was the assistant music director for this project, largely because he had so much experience. And so he helped put the music side together.
Yeah, to echo pretty much everything that's been said, mostly it's just been about the collaboration for me. Being able to work with a community of artists, that's beautiful. A lot of times, I think, well, for me, I grew up in a silo of just my own creativity. And it was important to me to really get connected with other Black artists and just artists, period. Especially just like Quaylen was saying, to fill in the gaps, because I don't got the skills for everything, but I do have some pretty great skills. And working with everybody, putting our talents together, that was beautiful. That was a beautiful process. Something that really lightened my world and filled me with love. And then two, just the amount of growth that happens when we're all working together and put our energy into something that, I don't know, I mean, there's nothing pretty much like that. But when you have that collaboration, especially in the Black community, being able to see what comes out of that, like who you think somebody is, who you think you are, kind of changes too, because you get to learn so many different aspects about yourself. At least I do.
Okay, y'all give some more.
But now I think it's time for a performance.
Let's get it, absolutely. Now look, we're about to have, don't get me wrong with this one, Nadir and Quaylen. Quaylen, okay, so Quaylen, okay, y'all make some noise for him.
It's Nadir.
Nadir.
So this, Nadir wrote this, and this is the part of the book that he reflected on. So I'll just read the sentence, and it's in the introduction, and it's why we need you. And this is in reference to brothers and sisters who are incarcerated. I did criminal defense work for about 14 years. And actually, I'm still doing criminal defense work. I want y'all to look up the case Mark Wilson. I'm under a gag order. I can't talk about it, but if you look up the case, you'll understand why it's important for y'all to get voice. But this was written for brothers who are incarcerated. And we wrote, we need all of them to find that moment, the moment before their dreams were stolen and spirits broken by a system that maintains a world where Black people are not safe and Black dreams are not safe.
All right, y'all, so this song that we're about to perform is called Black Dreams. It's got 3 simple dance moves: Black, Dreams, Sacred, real simple. I want everybody to practice it one time so we can do it during the chorus. It'll be like Black, Dreams, Sacred. Come on, y'all got it, that's it, that's it.
Yo. Yeah. Big.
And the voices come from the mountain tops, they're loud and clear as the sunlight burning away my fear. I thought my life was down in this concrete wilderness, but every time you speak, I feel this melody telling me my black dreams are sacred. My black dreams are sacred. shoot my shot, throw their hands in the air, but they shoot me in my back with my hands in the air. Any fair, I don't care for no fist in the air. Like the curls in my hair, feet going nowhere. I start from the heart, from the mind, from the soul. Wake up from the dream, then make it a goal. Go on with the cell, farewell to the jail cell. King had a dream, and I did it well. And they know it's not the way. They not the same. Queen, when you deal with yourself, stay up. When you deal with dreams, dream. Everybody say dream, dream, dream. Everybody say dream, dream. Everybody say dream, dream. Everybody say dream. My blind dreams are sacred. Our blind dreams are sacred. My blind dreams are sacred. Our blind dreams are sacred. Everybody now. Our blind dreams. Here you go. One more time. One more time. Back. Dreams are what? I'm
Thank you.
I'm posing as a sound man.
Everybody give another round of applause to our wonderful performers. All right, so we're gonna ask you guys a couple more questions. So I'll pass it off to you.
So the panelists, we all know how influential music is, especially in the African American community. Now, how do you feel like it brings a positive light to everything that's going on, especially in today's society in general? So a positive light, right? Yes, a positive light. Yeah, let's talk about the negative times. Is it on? Oh, yeah. So like with that song too, for Black Dreams, that's what that quote that you read when we were reading that chapter. That chapter specifically is talking about how the system that we live in, especially United States, contributes so much to us focusing on what doesn't matter, like making us focus on things that make us ignore our heart. Me and Quaylen was just talking about this today on the way to here, and it's about, we got so many distractions in this world, but we know, like, we talk about lighthearted, right? We know that expression. Like, if you're a lighthearted person, you walk around with this sense of like, just like life is easy or life is beautiful, But when you're not following your heart, it's so easy to feel like this lump in your chest, like something is holding you back, or something holding you down. And I think a lot of times that comes about because we can't really tap into who we are, or like what that internal messaging system. I don't know, y'all know what I'm talking about. I see some nods, but but there's just that feeling. And I think everybody knows it at some point in their life. If you don't know right now, that feeling, it might be God for you, it might be your grandma for you, it might be whoever, it might just be something that you feel inside. But there's just some internal message system that tells you where you need to be, what you need to do, and like if you're on the right path. And you can feel that. In music, they talk about how that is, I'm saying they, just like people who create music, artists, people who listen to music, people that love music, they talk about how that directly connects with that feeling inside of you, And that positivity, that positive light. When you're in a party and you hear like Cardi B or somebody come on, you don't really care about the lyrics, right? You just there because you ready to have fun. You with your friends. I don't know if we cussing here, but you do what you do. And that music is positive in a way because it allows us to let go of all that stuff, no matter what the lyrical content is. Because if we're able to have a party, we're able to come together that's positive, right? Like us being able to just share our space, and that's important. Like all genres, all the things that we create, that's all positive. Like being able to connect with that, what's in here, through whatever artistry and music specifically, that really brings some life to you, some life to our community. And I think that's positive within itself, no matter what you're writing down as the lyrics. Now, when we talk about the lyrical content, if you are listening for that purpose, then some lyrics can be distracting. But yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, I got a little lost in my business. Can you repeat exactly what you said again? Because there was no point, but I was
Okay.
doing it, and so I got lost myself, you know.
It's all right. It's all right. Now, I was saying how the impact on music in African American communities, you know, is very beneficial and efficient to our overall well-being. Now, how do you feel like we can bring a positive light to it in all aspects?
So before I was born, before y'all was born, before we were taken from our homes, before we were forced to work on behalf of other people and their great successes, music is how our people communicated. Talking is just sounds, right? And words are agreed upon sounds, right? And so when we talk about music and we talk about the vibration that those things make you feel, right? Because we all know how I feel when somebody talking crazy, right? So it's not always what you say, it's how you say it, right? I think music is the same way. When we talk about those cadences, you know how it feels to listen to something that makes you want to cry. You know how it feels to listen to something that makes you want to fight somebody, right? I mean, look, if you look, period, okay? And we know what it feels like to listen to something that makes you angry at something you can't see, right? Something greater than yourself. For me, I feel like listening to things like this project, right? It's sometimes like listening to gospel for other people, right? You're angry because it's something out there against you that you can't really see. You might not be able to put a name on it, right? But somebody is speaking to you about it and they're moving you, right? To do something better, to do something greater, to feel something, right? To put that love out there. You might be upset, but you want to give your heart because you know that that's what's going to get you through it. That's how I feel about this project and other artists when I listen to them and their positive creations. Those cadences move you to do things. I cannot sit in darkness when I'm listening to this. I cannot look at my brothers or my sisters on the street and think negatively about them when I listen to this, because no matter what you look like, no matter how you act, no matter how you talked to me yesterday, if I'm listening to this, I see you differently, right? So I definitely think that music like this and other things that we've been presented with that, you know, are intentionally positive, definitely move us in a different direction. Because if that's all you're feeding yourself, right? We know it's fun to have cake, cookies, ice cream, whatever, but you have to eat your vegetables. You have to. Or even though you may look good, you're going to feel like, you're gonna feel like, okay? So this is my vegetables, that's my vegetables. Feel like in order for us to grow and actually get what we need, you got to eat your vegetables. And positive music is the way that I do that spiritually.
So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, one rap is worth 100 sermons. Think about that. So we felt like we reach people who rap big time in terms of taking over 100 sermons. So that's all I need to say about that.
What I'm gonna say is there's a lot of artists with trash bars, but they got auto-tune and a fire beat and a corporation behind them. So that's what we're hearing, and it's lit. And I know like all of us had like an earworm before, and you know, you just seeing something that's just like stuck in your head from a song or something. And you know, not even thinking it, you just said something that's like down in women or something that's hypersexual or something that you don't really even believe, but it was a song that stuck in your head and you're like, all right, cool. And then how can it bring light? You know, that's something that's going on when you like I said, I got two younger brothers. One of them, he's 12. I don't want him talking about some gun bars or like down the women that's 12. Like, what? Come on. You don't even know about love, and you're over here talking about like, yeah, all this crazy stuff that we're hearing in songs and whatnot. I'm like, bro, you're 12. You don't even know nothing about half the stuff you're talking about. You gonna come with, like, I know for me personally, there's songs that I listen to now that like 10 years ago when they came out, I was like, oh, this is my jam. I listen to it now. I'm like, yo, it was wild. And I'm like, I'm imagining now, like if I could put out some music now, where it's like, oh, you know, people just casually got stuck in their head and that without even knowing that they said an affirmation or something positive about themselves and stuff. Like, oh, cool, that's dope. 10 years down the line, you're gonna go down and listen to it again. Be like, oh, I didn't catch that bar. He's inspired with it. That's the kind of feeling that I want, and just bring like something that's uplifting and like positive. I mean, there's already enough gun bars. I could do that too. Like there's already enough bars talking about hypersexualizing a bunch of stuff. You can do it too. Like there's songs back in the day that were still talking about love and everything like that, but they're not just talking about Snapchat me that yada yada or crazy stuff, bro. Like they're not even lyrical, they're not even stealing it like with any windows and nothing. They just like blunt and boring, but the beat banging. So we gonna go with that. I'm like, come on, y'all, like we better than that. We way more creative than that. And like with this project, not only do we have like a positive message, the beats are fire, and we have corporations that did benefit, but like we also, even without any corporations, we got a community like that love us and don't support us. Like Black people love supporting Black people. And it's sad that like a lot of people that they have like the corporations did, and they have these Black people that's gonna say this stuff. And now not only are corporations screwing the artist is screwing the community by saying all this like crap that's really not even helping the next generation. We can bring the light to that. We can do that same thing. The music don't slap. Like the spoken word is on the album, straight fire. So this stuff with no beats, straight fire. The R&B, you hear them singing. They amazing at it. There's artists on that thing that go hard, like the hip hop and the R&B, like all the way through. It's some heat. And then afterwards, I'm feeling good about it. I don't feel like punching nobody. I don't feel like going to go cheat or nothing like that. Like I don't got no negative thoughts in my mind. I'm over here like experiencing some heat that's positive and encouraging, and I like feeling like that.
And the reason, so music, and if any of you all are familiar with Fela Kuti, who was a great artist, they did a documentary called "Music Is the Weapon." Music is a weapon, and when I came up, I'm a little older than Pee-wee, but we had some balance. You know, I was playing Public Enemy when I was at the Naval Academy, and it was influencing me. It was making me. It radicalized me at the academy. I mean, I'm in a space where it's hella white supremacy. And I had to have something that protected me, something that protected my worth as a Black man. And Public Enemy was that for me. And so obviously now there aren't a whole bunch of Public Enemies. There's not a whole bunch of conscious content. And it was 53 young people that are a part of this project that didn't just do music, some of them on the entrepreneurial marketing side, some of them on different sides. Two of them, since this has been recorded, have been shot. I mean, we got a whole thing going on with trying to build a community of young people that support each other. So this is real. And for me to see music connect them in a way that allows them to love each other more in a way that they inspire me. And so the power of music, because music is an energy, right? Like, you know, if somebody get ready to preach, there's the song of preparation. It's the song to get everybody open and ready to receive a word, right? If you are in a romantic mood, you play romantic music, or at least, you know, we used to, but you play some music that is, some Luther, right? And so, y'all like Luther. But for real, music sets a mood. And out of it, when I grew up in Jeffrey Mount on the south side of Chicago, when cats was getting ready to go do dirt, they were playing a certain kind of music. You know, it was out of a big box, but they were playing the music off a cassette tape. But they were getting ready to go over to another hood and get grimy, and they were getting themselves ready, listening to certain kind of stuff. And the question for us for you all is what kind of music do we need to change the world? You come to FAMU with such a tradition as this, don't squander it on being mediocre. Don't squander it on just making some bread or just doing something trivial. I mean, y'all are at a space where greats have come out of here, and so that's your tradition. So what music do you need that's gonna make you great? And that's that's the energy that I'm looking for. One of my players is out here, young Julian. He played for me when I coached AAU ball, and you know, we try to pour it through sports, through music, through whatever way we can connect with young people. That's our intent, and then let y'all roll with it because y'all got the best. Y'all are the answer.
All right, thank you for your responses. Those are some really good responses. But as a relation to that, you guys are making some huge changes in your community. I can see that already through your music. But for people who aren't as artistically or creatively privileged, you know, how can youth our age and like Black youth in specific make a change in the community?
I'm excited about this question. Great. Okay, well, the first thing, you guys can download whatever we make, right? That's the first thing. And then once you download it, you can share it. You know, that's great. That's what technology is for. But the funny thing is there are many people who worked on this project who would not have considered themselves artistic, which is super dope. And maybe not artistic in the ways that people assume them to be or they thought they would be. Like Quaylon is a poet turned rapper now. We have some fashion designers, like a young girl did this. She, this pink shirt, her name is Mason. She actually she didn't think about doing fashion design. She designed this. She actually hand drew this because she was like, oh, I can't do digital art. I've never done that before. I don't know what that's like, right? So she drew it up. We partnered her with somebody else. They taught her how to digitize stuff, and now she just dropped the fashion line, right? So one thing about collaboration with other people that Nadir said earlier is about finding how you fit in, right? You can have all these ideas about who you think you are and what you think you can do or are not capable of doing, but when you get with other people who have the same types of visions that you do, you will find things that you've never known about yourself because it took them to unlock it. We have people who sat for hours and hours to work on marketing plans and business plans, who are still putting in the hours to make that kind of stuff happen, right? Because art is all fun and games, right, up front, but it takes a lot of business. It takes a lot of business. So among law interns and business majors, and we created an environment where your artistry was whatever gift you brought to the table. Because knowing how to do math and crunch numbers is an art, right? I'm not gifted in that way, but somebody is. And so I think we have to start thinking about contributions to artistry being much larger than what we see as the product.
And then just to add on to that, like I said, coming into this project, I was really excited because I just get to be a role player and stay in my lane and just create based off of what other people are doing. And everybody else was like that as well. There was people who got to manage the social media because they know everything that's going on, like Twitter, IG, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. There's people that was helping with the tech side who can help us with the live streams and getting it up on everything like that. There's people helping with PR. There was people who was just helping because this was the organized chaos. And without certain people, it would have just been chaos. So there were people who was helping on the organizational side just because that's what they were gifted at. And planning and making things right on that front. There were photographers who were just people behind the cameras. They were good at, I'm not trying to interview, I'm not trying to talk, I'm not trying to be a face of nothing, but I promise you this picture's gonna be saucy of you when you look at it. And that's all they like to do. My man's Nigel over here, he just like doing art, just like visual art. Saucy art. He made that based off of a song that was on the album, Values, when you listen to it. That's ATLiens. So he was doing that. And it's just being able to find out what do you like to do, seeing what everybody is doing, and then just figuring out how can you add value, how can you bring your light and your shine and your individuality to the community.
And I'll just say to the point of not feeling artistic, or, how do you become involved, right? How do you make sure that you are paying your honor to your ancestors by contributing to the future of young Black people, right? Speak your truth, period. Whatever it is, like, we all look similar, right? But we all have a different story to tell. And your piece is just as important as the next person's. So whatever it is that you do, like I told you guys at the beginning, right? I recently got into insurance. That is a heavily dominated field, right? But wherever I am, wherever I go, I'm myself. I might wear my hair in a club. And that is my silent protest, right? Because no matter where I go, I'm me. And I carry that. And I don't let anybody diminish that. So just being who you are and speaking and living your truth will take you farther than you think you ever could.
One of the things that we talk about is your contribution. Now, my father played with the Harlem Globetrotters, so he played at Tennessee State back in the Tennessee State's heyday when they won 2 back-to-back national championships. And so his team got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And so my brother and I went up, because he was unable to travel at the time. We went up to represent him as Tennessee State got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And so as I'm walking around the Hall of Fame, I'm checking the different categories, right? So one category, you got coaches. So these are coaches who make the Hall of Fame for being super coaches. Then you have players. Obviously, these are Michael Jordans that make the Hall of Fame. And then there was this one that I had not ever thought of. It was called contributors. Contributors, right? So they contributed to the game in such a way that they made the Hall of Fame. And what I talk about in the book and what I'm saying to you all is that find out how to at least be a contributor. You may not be a front line protest, jumping in front of police and all of that, but contribute to the movement. And the way you do that is being in organization, right? You can't be on a solo. There are no solo acts in Black liberation. Everybody, it's a team thing. We need, when we say it, we need you. Like even pushing this music, we don't have any big company behind us pushing the music. We put it out. Now we're sharing it. We're coming on the campuses and we're saying, yo, y'all share it, listen to it and share it and let us drive it, right? We are the tastemakers. Y'all are the ones that have complete control over this thing. That's why so many people try to get on campus to market to you. The credit card people, right? I was in the Navy, military. I held probably the FBI and CIA come up here trying to recruit y'all, right? That's how it rocks because you all are a product and they see you as a product. But we have to see ourselves as liberators of from what we've been experiencing as a people, and we win. And so, that's see yourself and just find your space. Whether you are, you get elected, you do the oratorical, whatever it is, just find your space and do that in a way that honors the rest. And don't hate on what nobody else is doing. Because we see that all the time. Like, well, if you're not marching, you ain't nothing. Nah, some people just made the signs. That's cool too. So.
And I was just gonna say too, I was having a conversation with my mom the other day, and she used to volunteer at my old middle school, and they have an issue right now where there's not enough volunteers, and they don't have enough money to hire new employees. But if 20 of the parents just showed up and volunteered, they would get what they needed done, like maybe 2 days, But just with one volunteer, it takes, weeks and weeks to get something done. But I'm saying that because, like they said, we need you. Like the book says, if people just show up and are willing to do the work and fall in place, like where people need help and willing to do the work, we would get things done like super fast, and rather than it taking months and months and months. And another thing she was saying to me was just like, people always want to complain, but they never want to do. And some in my leadership class right now, it's just, if in order to solve these major issues that we have in the world, we don't want to focus on what's not going well, but what we can do better. Because if you look at what's positive, what's good, what's going good, and really strengthen that area, of course, I think that's kind of intuitive, just to, like you said, better results. We just get it done. Most definitely, because I remember you said we often see ourselves as liberators, and I feel like everybody here is a liberator, contributing to the impact of, African American communities. Even you said you grew up, coaching Julian, what I'm saying? He took the route of contributing to the impact, especially young Black males in Tallahassee, even influencing my life, because I know he can't hoop. So that's why he's contributing to the success of Black marriage. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, it used to be, it's the past, but yeah, but he's still most definitely making his impact, okay? But without further ado, we would like to introduce to you the one and the only, Ebony. Yes, sir.
So Ebony's gonna do a cut that DKOMX is on, family freshman class of 2025. So he's gonna start off rapping and then is Isaiah's on there too? Yeah. Isaiah's on there too. So DK starts it off again. Ebony is the closer. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's called Round and Round.
And around we go, round and round we go, round and round we go, round and round. Thank God for giving me shit when I needed it, love when I needed. We live in a circle that keeps on repeating. Going around, I didn't believe him when he told me that we were more than the people of stuff. We made a difference with love. Live in a system that rather forget us, that keeps us all to be thugs, like we ain't enough. I see you, you see me, so see me, does you feel proud? This is between us. All of the lights, I need all the lights. We need all the lights. We need you and me. We need you and me. This system go round and round. They lock us in system, that's why this system is systematic, and we go round and round. Round and round, and round we go. Oh, round and round. And round we go, oh, round and round. And round we go, oh, round and round.
Round and round we go, it feel like I've been here. Go for go, boy, what you doing with that gold? They always come by and say, my story. Taking these drugs all I know, cause I'm for not anymore. Or be another number, being loyal to the floor and sees the difference. Cherish the world, generation completion. Animals terrorizing our so-called free nation. They say it was retarded, but I'm done being patient.
Round and round we go. Oh, yeah. Round and round we go. Oh, we go. Round we go. Yeah, round we go. Round we go again. Yeah, round we go. We go again, yeah. Go again, round and round and round. Round and round we go.
Thank you so much for that performance. That was great.
Yes. I'll give another round of applause.
All right, so that's all the questions that me and Deuce have for tonight. But if anybody from the audience has any questions for the panelists, now would be the time. Yeah. You can do so.
I like your shirt. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Greetings, I am Maya Dingle, I'm a first year public relations scholar from Atlanta, Georgia. Mhm. And my question is, how do you think the project will help the new generation to transition the way we navigate the modern day social justice movement after leaving our HBCU?
Clap for that question.
Without being facetious, I think it's up to you. We have a lot of hopes and dreams for what we think this could do or would do. But we created this project by internalizing the words that Maoli wrote in this book. And I think the biggest hope is that you guys will internalize the lyrics that we put together in the art that we are displaying to you and find your own message in moving forward. I hope that it will be able to transcend a spirit upon you that helps you, like Maoli said earlier, learn to love our people more deeply, starting with yourself and those around you, and carry that with you through all that you do. Because if that's what's in your heart, you'll never let us down. And so for me, that's what my hope is.
Everybody has to be in an organization. Everybody. There are no free agents. We need everybody in an organization, and that organization has to be working in the interest of Black people. Period. And if you don't know of one, start one. It's okay. But what has happened to us is that we're getting out organized. We're getting out organized, y'all. They're using our tactics, our language to organize against us. And so in Georgia, we're fighting and they're coming at critical race theory. Why? Why are they coming at critical race theory? It's because they don't want us to analyze the system that oppresses us. They don't want you to. Because as soon as you analyze it, you'll figure out how to deconstruct this rascal. And they don't want that. This is all about maintaining the status quo. And the status quo is their foot on your neck. Period. If it was up to them, they thought they gave y'all just some piece of land full of rattlesnakes. And look what y'all turned this into. You understand? That's our mindset. So join an organization, organize, come back, make sure you are supporting your HBCUs by giving money. I come back every year for homecoming. I act like I went here, right? But we also give money. So do that and build institutions, because that is how we sustain ourselves. When I walk through and I look on that wall outside of the distinguished people, many of them have made transition. They're no longer here, but they contributed to the institution that's still here for you all as a freshman to come, and then you go to that next level and then you contribute. So it's all about organization and not being afraid to be in organizations, and to really, one of the deep, deep things is that we gotta read and we have to get a grasp on our history and culture. The reason they don't want us dealing with history and culture, because that's the power, right? Like when you know your grandmama walked for 20 miles to get to school, what is that statement about education? I know it's probably like 2, but it keeps getting longer every time she tells the story. But what does that say? What that said is the importance of education. And if we don't know that story, we kind of like, I can take it or leave it. But if your grandmama walked 20 miles and your great-grandfather helped Booker T take the bricks and build the buildings, it inspires you, and they don't want that. And that's why we have to delve deeper into our history and culture, and that propels us. That's the only way that I was able to survive all of these institutions that I've been in, but I didn't allow it to co-opt my spirit. Don't let them take your spirit. That spirit of resistance, that in your heart, nah, that ain't right. Nah, you gotta keep hearing it. Those are your ancestors speaking to you. I got another question.
Hey, girls.
And this might be a weird question to ask, but I remember you saying education and then continuing to teach the African-American experience, the history and things of that sort. How do you think this is going to be affected by HB7 that's being pushed through Congress right now? HB7, I know you're from Georgia, right?
Yeah.
In Florida right now in the House, it's being pushed, it might have already been pushed, but HB7 is prohibiting the teaching of African-American history, slavery, and gay rights.
Yeah. So they're doing this. They're doing the same thing in Georgia. I forget the bill number. My wife is the school board chair for the city schools of Decatur, and so she was supposed to go down to the state capitol and testify. This attempt. That's why we have to have independent projects, because they're going to control. They're trying to control public education to prevent the teaching of the history in a way that empowers us. And so think about it like this. Just like you all opened up today, what if you all had Saturday school where you brought the young people who are in the public school system here in Tallahassee for them to learn their history and culture? Saturday school, we call them freedom schools. So we are all these, they're a part, I'm on a chairman of a school called Kilumbo in Atlanta, and it's an African-centered school where we teach who they are.
Yeah.
So when they represent all of what's coming out of this brother, our school helped put it there along with his parents, along with community. And so it just, when we know who we are, they can't, I mean, I walk into the courtroom and I'll be quiet. I walk in the courtroom, I come in there with Johnny Cochran, I come in there with Constance Baker Mott, I come in there with Thurgood Marshall, because I'm clear. When you enter spaces, if you enter in public relations, who are the pioneers in public relations? Who are the pioneers in business? Who are the pioneers in whatever industry that you are entering into? And you learn their story, and then you bring them with you, and they can't touch you. They can't. That's why they scared as hell. This is their last breath. This is it. Because the numbers aren't working for them anymore, right? The browning of America. So the only thing that's left is to try to control your mind so they can control your body. And when they do that, that's the objective. But they can't beat us. They can't.
I was gonna say, I don't know much about Florida. But I think that in Georgia, one of the things that they're gonna have an issue with is coming up against those communities that we have that have freedom schools and that don't care. Okay, you don't want to do public school education where they learn about this, that's fine. We're gonna make sure that they know, right? The scary thing is we can't get to everybody. Like he said, they have Kilumbo. My mom runs an African Center high school called TSK Prep. And there are several schools in Metro Atlanta alone, a few out in California, New York, right? But we can't reach everybody. So it is scary as a young person to think about all of my young brothers and sisters that are trapped in public education due to circumstance or whatever else, right? Who need people like us to do Saturday school and all of that kind of stuff. So be an educator wherever you can be. And because we can't fight all the fights, you know what I'm saying, from in the courtroom, but on the street, do your job. If you see room to be an educator, be an educator. Some people don't know that fight is going on right now. Educate them about that, and just make a difference that way.
Well, I would add, one, that's a great question. Two, learn your family history, because I know in like the 7th grade, my granddad passed away. And back at that age, I'm not trying to be on no civil rights stuff and nothing like that. I don't really know about that. I'm focused on like Hot Wheels, PlayStation, Madden, and like, my granddad is like this old dude up at 2 a.m. while we're playing video games. He's got the house smelling like shaving cream and everything. He got his own little chair in the crib. Cool. Everybody in the family love him. All right. But once he passed, a couple of years ago, we were going back into his room and I had read the obituary from when he was there. Well, one, when he passed away, the entire city of Dublin, Georgia was packed out. I was like, I didn't even know that this man had this kind of like street cred. How? Like, I was mind blown. I had never seen like the church packed out the way it was. The streets was like full of traffic. Everybody was going the same way because it was all going towards his service. It was crazy. I was like, who is this dude? Like, I know he's my granddad, but like, who is he? A couple of years ago, I looked at his, I was just rereading his obituary. He was the president of the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference down in South Georgia. He marched with Dr. King, stride by stride with him and things of that nature. He dropped out of school at like, he had like a 3rd or 4th grade education, but was still able to be like the head of household for my mom and all of her siblings. She got like 4, 5, 6 siblings. And he was still in the household. He was a great husband. He was a great father, great inspiration, and was still able to do civil rights activism work after that. And I was like, yo, that's absolutely phenomenal. He was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go to Morehouse because, I'm just walking through campus. I'm like, yada, 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 cool. There's a statue of Dr. King. I'm like, oh, my granddad marched with Dr. King. Cool. Like, also, that's like one of my main inspirations to even want to go to HBCU. I wasn't thinking about HBCU or PWI because even at that stage, it wasn't even in my head like that. I was thinking about my granddad when I was young. So that's really important. And then knowing last year, me and all of my god cousins, we went back down to Dublin to talk to my grandma. And she took us to where she grew up at. And mind you, like I said, growing up down in Dublin, Georgia, South Georgia, there's cotton fields all around. She grew up on 88 acres of land. And she took us to those 88 acres of land. And I saw what 88 acres of land looked like in person. And mind blowing. But all I knew growing up in Dublin was that there's this small little house that we have, 2.5 bedrooms, there's a den and a bathroom. And I'm like, well, what happened? And she was like, during Jim Crow and everything, they couldn't even get into the tax buildings. And of course, if you're not paying taxes and stuff, the government can come for you. So they lost it like that. And I'm like, imagine what our family could have had with 88 acres of land. Like, that's phenomenal. So now what me, my brother, and my cousins, we're on a race to $1 million individually to see who's going to get it. But then one of the things that we really want is to build a family home. We want to go buy 88 acres of land for our family, build a giant family home. So like on Thanksgiving or whatever kind of holidays we have, like when the families just come together, they got this giant house that we could all come to, all the yard, all the food, all kinds of creative stuff where everybody can just be there. Just because we saw like what used to be in our family, what we can do in that power and history. So it's like, even if the school system isn't running, just talk to your family members, like hear some of those stories and hear what they had going. It helped me. And now I'm just inspired to learn more and create just because I saw like what they were able to do back then without all the resources that I had. So, my bad. Again, that was a great question.
And last thing I just want to say is just be creative. Like we know the circumstances, we know the community that we're a part of, and you're talking about this. They're not allowing us to teach African history in public schools, but we can create our own classroom anywhere, like they were saying, like here maybe for example. But that's what I'm saying. Like be creative. If they're gonna always try to put blocks in certain ways, but the beauty of us is that we are able to be innovative and create ways for us to do what we want to do in our own way. And they can't stop that because it's already within our community. They can't come in here and be like, y'all can't do this. We make those decisions for ourselves. The biggest trick is when they're telling us you can't do this and then we believe in them, because it's not one way to do something. You can always do something a different way, whatever way you choose. And that's amazing. There a lot of stuff comes out of that. Some things that are pretty amazing.
Round of applause, yeah. So we want to actually just say thank you all for actually taking the time out to come to Florida University and actually just inform us about how the impact of just music and the influence of African Americans just had an impact on students ourselves as well as just society. But without further ado, we're going to bring up a video soon brought to you by Dr. Williams. Yeah, so just got to give him a second so we can load this thing up. Okay. It's an easy video.
Okay, wait, hold on. I just want to say really quick, we talk about the positivity, right? and how we influence. During the writing session for this song, it was really powerful because, you know, as Black people, we talk a lot about our trauma and our demise here. But when we wrote the song that you guys are about to see in the video, we actually had a goal to eliminate that point of view, right? So we talk a lot about the sad times, we talk a lot about the down times, but we all collectively chose to talk about those topics in a light way, to talk about the positives, because we really wanted to display the positive aspect of why we need you. It's not always a downhill, right? It's not always sad. It's good. It feels good to know that I need Quaylin and Nadir. It feels good to know that we needed to have this interaction today, right? Like, you guys coming here answers those questions that you guys asked us. This is how you start. This is how you make that change in your personal life, right? So when you listen to this, we really just hope that it feels as good as it felt to make it, honestly. So yeah, I just want to say that.
And it was shot at Morris Brown.
Yeah, it was shot in the AUC Center. So yeah, Morris Brown, all that.
The jail booth became a confessional, full of admitted sins, forgiveness, and answered prayers. In the midst of his ramblings about how and why he can do better, I heard myself mumble, "Brother, we need you."
I use my color to be hopeful for change, cause if our altercations might just go through a change as well, cause time will tell about the scale of worth, cause earth is so forbidden. Pride only constitutes the weapons, helping approach my ceiling, feeling this strain inside the very veins that I bleed through, while searching through pain and seeking, thinking people, we need Everybody come along and join the party. Only reason we can walk is cause our elders started. If you with it, think I'm with it, cause we drop the knowledge. Make a mamas and a papas power, but they taught us. I vocalizing my pain, took a second to realize it. Acknowledge what people say, but be people who be about it and talk like they know what they want. We need you and you need us because our people are one. DK, yeah.
Yes, I hear you. Elders speaking to me. Opening my spirit, my ancestors speaking through me. Confidence will never wait because I'm blessed and highly favored. Yes, my melody is popping and it adds a little flavor.
Change come, got your own pace, I'm in my own race. Trying to change the world, but it gotta start with home base. We need you to be an individual. Love, we see you, you are not invisible. Yeah, hands up for fire, but now my people dying. Spirits flying, we'll keep it on trying. Tell the truth, powered by the youth. Speak the dream they sold to you. I've been so cool, don't approach my door. Black skin, black hole. Racism is a for my past, I fix it. My past, genetic. Black people in justice. We ain't banging, but I swear we all love. Love, showing to each other, every rising above. God do it for the old generation. We're doing new to it. Feel all the planet we get to. It's in the notes, in the lips, it's in the curves. It's something different for the boys and girls. It's in the way I wear my clothes and how I walk. It ain't superficial, it's the way I talk my talk.
The audacity which allows us to build a new world every day has also birthed organizing models for us to clearly see our way forward, even beyond the chaos. We believe with absolute certainty that for these life-sustaining efforts to prevail and for victory to be won, we need you.
That's real, that's real. So we're gonna do that thing one more time that you taught us. Black, dreams, sacred. Yeah, come on. Y'all give a round of applause.
You can get the music, it's on all platforms. Here's the cover.
So if y'all don't mind, please take out your phones, you know what I'm saying? Show them some love a little bit.
Go ahead, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. You got it. You got it.
The artist's name is Black Man Lab. And the whole project's name is We Need You.
In that video, everything y'all saw, young people, cameramen, young people, directors, young people, everybody under 25. So, just goes to show what you can do when you got people that believe in you.
You like church, now stand up. No, I put your hands up if you got it. If you found the scripture.
Please don't talk about the unity and any opportunity different than the ones they established. It's still like they.
All right, thank you guys so much. Can everybody come up for a picture?
Supposed to raise my kids away with race classes. Do it with a purpose, do it with an action. We was taught to block emotions, got to understand them. Now I understand them. It's painful because it's dancing inside of my head. Wanted you dead, couldn't see my vision impaired. I've been getting dry, so stay back at the body that's overdosing on my mind. You say the sadness about me, I've heard the rumors and stories. Yeah.